What is up, Game Brigade? My name is Brian, and today we are going to be diving into the hotness on the BGG Top 10. Now, these are going to be the hottest games right now on Board Game Geek, and the reason I want to talk about this is GenCon is just right around the corner, and I want to see what the games people are talking about and also give you a little bit more information if you're going to GenCon where you might be able to find some of these titles. So let's go! Okay, so we're going to be going from 10 down to 1 as we kind of talk about what is currently on the hotness. And I was surprised to see Dune Imperium still in the top 10. Now, this is ranked overall 8, so it's still one of the best games that you can find in terms of board gaming. I always think it's important when you think of all-time board gaming ranked, this is 8th overall. Now, Dune Imperium is one of my favorite games. It is a deck builder, worker placement game set in the Dune universe using assets and art from the new HBO movie series. Yet it uses them in a kind of a tasteful way. I always complain that I don't like how the art is used. You can see that this is renditions and artist renditions of the characters in the game. Here's another character, for example. So I really enjoy the way this game has brought the TV series, obviously the book series, to life for us to play. What I really like about Dune, though, is how it really implements a strong strategy aspect with the different types of heroes that you're going to use as your character and the kind of gameplay that they want to do, as well as the type of cards you can purchase. So I thought that this was interesting that this is still number 10. It's definitely still talked about. There's a few of these that are just mainstay hotness games because there's just so much good stuff that you can learn from it. This will be at GenCon at the Dire Wolf booth if you're interested, and their booth number is 2402. The next one we are going to talk about is Witcher: The Old World. This is from Go On Board, which was a Kickstarter or GameFound. I can't remember which one it was on, but it was on Crowdfunding. It is a CD Projekt Red game, which is the designer of the video game version. And I believe it's going to be published locally with Asmodee. Now, don't get me wrong, there's 15 publishers that they list here, but I believe these are all for localized regional retail releases, and Asmodee I believe will be handling the US, but I'll find out when I go to GenCon and I meet with Go On Board and find out more about this. This is currently ranked 913 for overall, ranked 166 for thematic games, and I will say in terms of thematicness, for a person who played Witcher 3 to death, everything, very well done in terms of bringing the Witcher 3 video game to a board game setting. It is a deck building game where you are going to be taking your Witcher around the board. Let's kind of show you what that board looks like right here. You're going to be going around this board to different locations, and each of these locations have a different activated ability that you can trigger to help you gain some skills or something along the way. You can gain potions, you can gain bombs, you can get skills for your stats, you can even go play dice poker if that's something that you want to do. And there are going to be monsters that you are going to be able to fight to gain trophies, and eventually once you reach a certain amount of trophies, dependent on the length of a game you want to play, you will win. The strongest part of this game is the deck building and the way the hand management system is done. They use a system that is kind of like a combo system where you want to continually keep playing cards within an attack to deal as much damage. So how does that work? Well, in this case, you can see this player has played out several cards in their hand, but to do so, they had to have comboed them. So we look at the first card played, the far left card. It's got a yellow banner here on the side, but it's got this little purple divot here. This means if you are able to play a purple card next, you will gain the benefit of this purple card or this yellow card. So the player plays this purple banner card. So they're going to draw 2 cards on their recovery phase, and if they play a purple card, this symbol means deal 2 damage, which they did play a purple card, so they'll be dealing 3 damage. Then if they play a green card, they'll gain a shield, which they did play a green card, gaining 3 shields. And if they play a yellow card, they would gain this benefit. Now, this situation, the chain is technically done. They don't play a yellow card here. But if this had a green card, they could play a green card on top of that. So that's how the comboing system works. You're going to be trying to build a deck that is going to combo over dealing damage, drawing cards, repairing your recovery, etc. Really fun. I like that aspect of the game. And the way that you purchase your cards, you have to sacrifice your actions for that turn, because when you purchase cards, they'll have different types of costs. In fact, that was a perfect picture to kind of reference that as well, if I can find it. Probably not. Who knows where they are. Okay. Down here in the bottom right corner is the cost of the card to purchase the card from the row. When you eventually go to your purchase round, this card costs 0. It's actually a starter card, so that might be the reason why it costs 0. But you can see that number is referenced down here in case you wanted to buy cards. If you want to buy cards that cost 1, 2, or more potentially, you'll have to discard cards from your hand that would be your actions going forward. But the cool thing is the card that you buy actually goes straight to your hand. So even though I'm discarding, say, 2 cards, I'm gaining a card back. So I'm not totally nuking my turn. So The Witcher: The Old World. I'm excited for this one. I believe this is going to be in the Asmodee booth, but I'm not sure as to which one yet. I believe it's going to be 823. But we'll talk about that later. I'm going to give you all the Asmodee booths that are available so you can check them out if you're in the region. 809, 815, 823, 1109, 1115, and 929. So if you are looking for games that are going to be published by Asmodee, these are the booths you're going to go to. I believe Go On Board is going to be at 823. All right. The next game I want to talk about, this is number 7 on the hotness, is the Castles of Burgundy Special Edition. This is by Alea and Awaken Realms. Now, I just played this game last night, so I'm glad that I got this fresh in my mind to talk about it, and I love this game. The original Castles of Burgundy is currently rated on number 17 on BGG, and I own that version, but I don't like it because of how ugly it was. So when they announced the special edition, I was like, oh, great. They're going to be able to get a chance to relive this game and give it some fresh breath of life. And I think they did a very good job. They have a lot of deluxeified components, such as these acrylic tiles. You can see the castles here if you got the deluxe miniature versions. Very much enjoy the aspect of this game. Castles of Burgundy is a tile-laying dice rolling dice assigning game. So effectively what you're going to be doing is you're going to be assigned a color. So let's say we're the red player. You're going to roll your dice, and the dice that you roll are going to allow you to choose an action that's available in the middle row. I wish I could find an example of the middle row here. Okay, here's an example. So go back one. Oh, come on, we just had it. Okay, here's an example. So on this board, you have 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So whenever you're going to assign your dice to one of these variables, whatever you rolled, and you can collect one of the tiles from that region, adding it to your key space of your player board. Alternatively, if you want to play one of those cards that you just, tiles you played, on your board, you can see that there are dice markers in these open slots. If you have a dice that matches that slot number and a tile with the same color as that spot, you could play that tile in that region as long as you have a connecting building with it. So luckily this player pretty much has a blacked out board. They've got everything almost fully covered. So they have pretty much all the spots taken care of. There are several different types of buildings. You've got your monasteries, you've got your standard buildings, you've got your naval water lanes, and you've got your pastures. So there's a bunch of different themes and stuff in here. Very much liked it. It's a brain burning game and definitely worth being overall Board Game Geek number 17. Now this is going to be with Awaken Realms and Ravensburger, I believe as well at 823 for that Asmodee booth region. But we'll find out. I'm going to be there. I'm going to check it out. I just want to see what else they got going on. I love this game. Very, very impressed. Very happy with it so far. Okay, number 6 is one that's been here forever, it seems like. Arc Nova. This is the Board Game Geek overall number 4 for strategy and number 4 for overall. So definitely holding up tight. This is published by Capstone Games in the United States. Feuerland Spiel, if you are looking, I believe, for the original publisher in Germany, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure if it's who the original publisher is, because this is how this is listed. But I know Capstone Games is the version that I have here in the U.S. Arc Nova is basically been rolling through and crushing everyone in terms of like terraforming Mars and whatnot, being that tableau building, open drafting, hand management game where you are basically building out your tableau as you create the best animal reserve possible. So here's an example here down here. You basically place these different polygonal or hexagonal tiles into your reserve, and you place animals into those reserves, and these animals must have a certain size of a paddock, and they can't be overcrowded or anything like that. And they also like being near specific things, so like water or the rock features. And then you can place different types of gazebos for entertainment or booths for, for generating different things, all at the same time generating conservation points as well as you move along this board here. The only thing I played this game, I think it's good, but I'm not in love with it yet. I don't know if I need how many more plays I need to see the magic that maybe other people are seeing. I think it's good. It runs a little long for me. And I didn't like the scoring system. I didn't like how the way the scoring, it's like, okay, whoever the first place is, now that becomes like 0 or something. I'd have to remember. It was just definitely weird because we had negative points at the end of the game. I was like, this is just not a fun feeling. Although it effectively was the same if you had positive scoring, still, it wasn't the most fun feeling. But overall, the game is good, and I would like to play it more. It's obviously a good game, rated at number 4 on BGG. A ton of people still talking about it. Can't break it from the hotness. They are going to be Capstone Games will be at GenCon at booth 1649. If you're looking at picking this up, we're seeing other games in their line. So, number 1 overall, Board Game Geek, overtaking Gloomhaven several months ago. Brass Birmingham, a game where you play an economic baron in the turn of the century era England. So this game is basically an economic player's dream where you are playing coal mines and building railroad tracks as you try to expand your empire, collect as much money as you can, going to massive debts in the beginning of the game to fund your projects. It's a fun game. I very much enjoyed it, and I liked the hand management system where you're playing your cards based on the locations on them. It was a really cool game. Still talked about, and I think it's talked about because of its recent overtaking of Gloomhaven, still rolling that wave of overall hype train. And, what can you do? Roxley, I haven't been able to find them if they're going to go to GenCon, so I didn't find any booth information for them. But researching this on Amazon, over 500 copies have sold on Amazon alone within the last month. So there are still a ton of sales. Obviously, the hype is working for Brass Birmingham because it's getting a lot of people purchasing this game, finding out more information. So that's good. Good for them. Congratulations on what they're doing. The next one, Heat Pedal to the Metal by Days of Wonder. Now, Heat Pedal to the Metal, I finally got a chance to play this game at the Level Up Retreat. I played with Ant Lab Games. I was very appreciative that they taught me this game, and we got a chance to play it together. I think we played 3 total races, and it's because I love this game so much. After we finished the race, I was like, okay, let's go again. I very, very much liked it. I wish we got a chance to play with some of the upgraded components or some of the weather, because what I played of the base game I loved, and I could see how much value and how much range there could be with this game, especially with the customizational options or the weather options. Very, very fun game. So how does this game work? It's a hand management game, so you're going to have your hand of cards, and these cards have speeds on them. So, for example, you see these, the 5, 1, 0, 2. You're going to be playing these cards to move a certain amount of numbers of spaces down the track. Now, whatever gear you're in is how many cards you're going to play. So, for example, if I am in gear 2, I could play a 5 and a 1 to go 6 spaces down the track. Now, obviously, you want to win the race, so you think in your head, well, I want to be in the fastest gear, which is 4, so I can play 4 cards and just, rip around the track. Well, the problem is the way this game works. Let's find a better picture of the racetracks. The way this game works is when we take a look at these tracks, you'll notice there are numbers around these turns. This is the speed that you must enter the turn through. So when you pass the line that the number is at, if you exceed that speed, you're going to get heat added to your engine. That means it's going to bog down your deck of cards. Basically, you're going to take a heat card from your heat pile, and you're going to add it to your discard pile, so that when you reshuffle and draw, you can potentially have dead cards in your hand. So what does that mean? That means you have to, as a driver, as a player, you're going to have to strategize as you enter this turn, the gear shift you're in, the cards you're going to play, potentially pushing your luck and saying, okay, I might rip through this turn going a certain speed, but then downshift again before I get to this 2, etc. And so entering a turn at speed 2 is very, very slow, so you have to really plan for that, as then come back around to speed 4, etc. So we played this France track first, I believe. It was okay. We played the USA track, and then we finished with the Great Britain track. I love the Great Britain track because it's got, once you get through this kind of bend, you got this wide open space where you can really open it up and play a lot of cards, go to gear 4, open the car up, rip around, and then come around the speed 10 track speed, which is good. That's a relatively good speed before you cut back around to the technical turns and have to really plan your turns out. So really, really cool game. In fact, the only thing I could say I want more is more tracks. And if you come over here to BGG, the cool thing is they have a lot of people posting and talking about their customized tracks or circuits that they're making. So that's one of the reasons I actually love Board Game Geek, is their ability to have fan-made content for us to elongate the game and give more options, because that's really all I wanted. Was like, I wanted to do more tracks, I wanted to see more options, maybe even having a little bit longer races, because you only go around 2 tracks or 2 times around the race. So they're relatively quick games, 30 to 60 minutes on average. I think our most of them were about 30 to 45 minutes. So yeah, very, very much appreciated Heat Pedal to the Metal. GenCon Days of Wonder booth is 1115 if you are looking for that booth information. I'm definitely going to look to see if they have a copy, because I want this in my collection. I want to play this, and that might be the only way I can find it, because it's been impossible to find locally. Okay, jumping over. So we are kind of getting to the meat of the games now, some of the hotter games. So this is number 5, I believe, Innovation Ultimate. And this one was really hard to do research on. I haven't played Innovation, and I didn't enter the board game arena when this was the hotness back in like 2010. But basically, I've done as much research as I can. Innovation, the original game, came out in 2010. It is currently ranked 363 overall in terms of the world of games. That's still really decent. Anything below 400, in my opinion, is a game to be worth considering. And it is it's a tableau hand management game where basically you are trying to build your civilization up through a bunch of different eras. So if we look here, you've got the prehistory, classical, medieval, Renaissance. You're going to be going through these eras, playing cards, building out different types of technologies and getting skills. It looks really good, and I would say the best thing I would recommend if you are curious about this, because this is currently on BackerKit. So the reason why this is on the hotness and people are talking about it, one, it's been a very popular game for years. It's running on 13 years of dedicated people loving this product. But it's on BackerKit for the kind of like deluxe complete collection where you can get 5 expansions. So that's cool for that. But if you want to get a good review, I'm going to do a little shoutcast here for Alex Radcliffe's video here, this 12x12 review of all of Innovation. He basically gives you all the games that he's played over the 12 sessions. And this was probably the best way I was able to really understand the game and get a good feeling for it. And it gave me a little bit of FOMO, saying, man, I kind of want this game, but you can't have them all, right? So Asmati Games will be at Gen Con. I'll talk to them down there. I want to learn more about this system because I've never played it. Maybe they can do a trial hand with me. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But Asmati Games will be at Gen Con booth 1731 if you're looking for more information. Or you can check out the Backer Kit campaign. It's going on for 2 months. I think you got about a month and a half left at the time of this filming. So plenty of time for you to go look for it. Yeah, check it out. The next game is Age of Innovation from Capstone Games. Capstone's doing great. We've already talked about their booth, but 1649 if you'd like to check it out. And Age of Innovation is basically Terra Mystica 2. That's what I've been seeing from all the comments of people saying it's basically Terra Mystica 2 in that realm. But what some of the comments and people were talking about down here when I was kind of digging through it is that people are saying it's like more of a refined version of Terra Mystica with several people sharing that has benefits of gameplay over Terra Mystica, kind of refining the point scoring and the distribution, but still giving players multiple ways and variable ways to win. I haven't played Terra Mystica, so I can't shed any types of insight between this over the other. But there is a pretty good rundown by Man vs. Meeple. If we maybe go to videos, it's this middle one right here. If you want to see them talk about it, they have a good Gen Con preview for this. And Capstone Games, again, I already mentioned 1649. If you're looking for more information, this is pretty much on the hotness right now because it's finally starting to deliver. So people are starting to get their shipping notifications, and people are pretty hyped because Terra Mystica has been a pretty popular game overall. In fact, if we go here to Terra Mystica, you can see that it's overall ranked 26. So definitely a high ranked game for people to take a look at. Finaling up here, we've got the top 2. So number 2 on the hotness is Expeditions by Stonemaier Games. I love Stonemaier Games. I think Jamie is a stand-up guy. I have enjoyed almost all of the games that I've played from Stonemaier, starting with Wingspan, Viticulture. I don't mind Red Rising. I know a lot of people have a hard time on that. Scythe was one of the games that brought me into this hobby fully when I was like, okay, this is in. And so this is going to be revisiting the Scythe universe, basically letting players kind of have a different experience, but still sharing a lot of the similar DNA of Scythe as they go. So this is a card-driven game where players are going to be playing cards, but still moving around these different types of hex tiles with their droids, with their mechs, I guess you would say. Playing the game, it's a pretty solid game. A lot of good reviews. If you want a kind of a anti-FOMO video, I recommend watching Broken Meeple. He gives a very good review, but he's also anti-hype, where he's trying to tell you the game is very good at solo and very good at 2-player, but at 3 players he sees issues with the point scoring and the scaling. So if you're looking for some anti-FOMO information, check out Broken Meeple, because I think it's valuable. There's a lot of people loving this game. It's currently got an 8.0 on Board Game Geek, which is pretty high. Only ranked 2,000 currently, but that's because it's so fresh and so new. Not a lot of people have played it. You can find the Stonemaier booth at Gen Con at 2909 if you're looking for a copy of this. I would probably check it out. I would love to check it out. I think it's pretty cool. Okay, the final game on our list today is Earthborn Rangers by Earthborn Games. Now, this one was on Kickstarter, I believe, if I remember right. And it was basically, I feel like it's so funny. This art here is so different because I'm pretty sure this is the box art that's actually the game. This is a legacy-like card game where the decisions you make throughout the game and the storybook can affect your game as you go through this open world. I was always intrigued by this game, but the price point was very high, so I didn't move in on backing this game or anything like that, because while being reasonably high, it's because they were doing a nature conservatory push to make this a completely, plastic-free recycled use products. So it takes, and obviously having a manufacturing company that is not toxic in some ways. So there was a lot more that goes into this kind of manufacturing expedition. But the game looks very, very good, and I'm very curious to see what Earthborn Games has to offer. I couldn't find any information for them at GenCon, so I won't be able to talk with their publishers to get more information. But definitely, from what I've seen, this game is very hyped, and people are talking about it. And they're finally starting to get their initial releases, and the publishers or the games are finally getting delivered. They're not selling this at GenCon. I know that for a fact. They might sell this at PAX Unplugged, but they're waiting for a full fulfillment of all the backers prior to selling it, which is props for them. Good job. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that they will still be at Gen Con. I just got to figure out where they are. Maybe check their publishers. Maybe they're hiding in one of these publishers' locations. So that's it. We are going to go back to the main camera. I appreciate you guys for watching. This is going to be my first time at Gen Con. I am very hyped. I'm also very nervous because I'm going alone. And it's going to be a big business project for me to meet a lot of people, meet people in the industry, and kind of spread my wings a little bit and see where I belong in this content creator space. So thank you guys for following along my journey here at Game Brigade. I appreciate you for joining the community. You're all my Game Brigade family. I will talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.